The Orioles making a number of roster moves prior to Game 2 against the best team in baseball. One injury-related, the others for infield, outfield depth, bullpen relief, and a major league debut. Just not one fans had next on their list. Left-handed pitcher Drew Rom was recalled from AAA. When he makes his relief appearance, it will be his major league debut. The Orioles place infielder Ramon Urias on the 10-day injured list. Urias injured his left hamstring after this single Monday night and run to first. Executive VP and GM Mike Elias said it could be a while on Urias. So Ryan O'Hearn and Terrin Vavra are back up, not hotter prospect names in AAA like Jordan Westburg.
He's been a great performer in AAA, an active topic of conversation, dating back even into last year. And, this is a move that we had to make pretty quickly last night, but certainly he's somebody that we're still monitoring and discussing and paying very close attention to on a nightly basis.
Due to service time, some moves made on Major League Baseball's top prospect list. Gunnar Henderson is no longer an O's prospect. Grayson Rodriguez still is. He needs more outings. So here's the Birds' #1 still. Shortstop Jackson Holliday is #2, and the Orioles' best prospect in all the minors, #10 in the top 100. He's in high A. Then it's outfielder Cowser and infielder Westburg, and AAA outfielder Heston Kjerstad, who's in Bowie at #5. The Birds try to snap out of their worst stretch all season, which isn't even that bad. 3 straight losses, all to the top team in the NL and AL. Game 2 against the Rays is tonight when Sports Unlimited continues.
Thank you, Morgan. While we're talking baseball, by the way, we hope you check out the new Rip and Rock podcast. Former player Ryan Ripken joins our own Rocco DeSangro to bring you the latest Orioles baseball headlines, expert analysis, and all the best moments from the O's. You can find Rip and Rock on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Coming up on Fox 45 News at 6 o'clock, attorney Ben Crump now advocating for victims of alleged sexual abuse at the hands of the Baltimore Archdiocese. His plan to help survivors. And a meeting just wrapping up at the White House on the debt limit. How the first session since February went for President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy.
We continue to follow breaking news. Former President Donald Trump is liable of sexual abuse and battery. The latest details and Trump's reaction coming up. A man considered to be a repeat offender arrested on attempted murder charges. A look at what our investigation revealed as cracks in the criminal accountability continue to appear. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump advocating for the victims of the Baltimore Archdiocese alleged abuse. His plan to help as more victims speak out.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
And good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala. Tonight, we are taking a look at a story we first brought you here on Fox 45 yesterday. A man arrested for attempted murder in a shooting that happened back in April. Police calling him a repeat violent offender. Now, documents reveal he had not just one, but 3 open arrest warrants. Fox 45's Alexa Ashwell taking a look at just how this man fell through the cracks.
We've heard from city leaders and police about the need for all of the systems to work together in order to effectively reduce crime. Well, here we have a repeat violent offender who has a warrant issued for his arrest, but it goes unserved for nearly 6 months. And during that time, he's accused of committing other crimes, some of them violent.
When Baltimore police arrested Terrell Parker on drug distribution charges May 6, court records show the 26-year-old already had 3 open warrants for his arrest, including for attempted murder. One warrant was nearly 6 months old.
He and many others are walking the streets with open warrants for very serious crimes.
Fox 45 News taking a closer look at the warrants. In November 2022, a warrant was issued for Parker's arrest for an alleged assault and burglary involving a girlfriend, where she told police he broke into her home, punched her in the face, and choked her. 3 months later, Parker was accused of assaulting another girlfriend and stealing her car. Then, in April, Parker was identified by 2 witnesses as the suspect who shot a man in the face. Another warrant was issued for his arrest for attempted murder. Parker was finally arrested in May on drug distribution and possession charges. Court records show he was caught with suspected cocaine and heroin after an officer surveilling City Watch cameras recognized him and knew he was wanted. That's 3 separate crimes Parker is accused of committing while having an open warrant for his arrest. Fox 45 News questioning BPD, asking why did it take so long to track down Parker? Former BPD Deputy Commissioner Jason Johnson says it all comes down to staffing.
The Warrant Apprehension Task Force, which is the component of the police department that is out actually looking for people who are fugitives, they don't have the resources or the manpower to go track down every single person with an open warrant. So therefore, you're going to have a lot of people with open warrants that are just going about their business, probably committing other crimes, waiting to be arrested. And it really gets down really to the resources that law enforcement has in Baltimore.
In the past, Commissioner Harrison has said the department prioritizes warrants based on the severity of the crime. But Parker, well known to BPD, with a violent criminal history that dates back into his juvenile years. Records show Parker received probation for an armed robbery turned shooting in 2015 and was then sentenced to 2 years in prison for a handgun violation later that same year. Then in 2019, records show Parker was arrested for murder in a double shooting. Parker seemingly falling through the cracks.
There are insufficient resources today to be able to guarantee that people will be brought to justice, even when it's a repeat violent offender, and even when the person remained in Baltimore.
A spokesperson with the Baltimore Police Department says they're looking at the warrants in order to ascertain which agency issued them, but confirmed the department's Warrant Apprehension Task Force did execute those arrest warrants, and right now Parker is being held without bond. Reporting outside police headquarters, Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
ATF and Montgomery County Police are offering a $15,000 reward for information leading to the arrests of several suspects involved in gun store burglaries. Officials say these people have been involved in at least 2 incidents at one store, Atlantic Guns in Rockville. One on November 19th, the other less than a week later. Police say they stole 7 pistols and 5 rifles, and they need your help identifying the suspects. A big name joining the fight against sex abuse within the Baltimore Archdiocese. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump now advocating for survivors in Baltimore and pushing for other states to lift the statute of limitations on childhood sexual abuse. Fox 45's Maxine Stryker has the story.
Crump, along with another prominent attorney here in Baltimore, plan to file hundreds of lawsuits come October when Maryland's new Child Victims Act takes effect.
Most people still don't want to believe it.
In front of the Baltimore Basilica Tuesday, attorneys Ben Crump and Adam Slater stood along survivors of childhood sex abuse within the Baltimore Archdiocese.
We stand honored to represent victims who have been sexually abused as children and who have had to suffer in silence for decades until we had great leaders in the Maryland legislature pass a law that told them finally they could get some measure of justice.
The Maryland Child Victims Act was signed into law last month. It allows survivors to file retroactive lawsuits, even if their claims have already expired under an existing statute of limitations, and eliminates the statute of limitations for all future lawsuits based on childhood sexual abuse claims.
We believe that the Maryland state constitution allows for a look back of the statute of limitations.
The attorneys plan to file hundreds of lawsuits in Baltimore court against the Catholic Archdiocese of Baltimore beginning October 1st of this year, when a look back window under Maryland's Child Victims Act begins.
This case is about holding the institution that enabled the abusers accountable. In this case, of course, it's the Catholic Church. So even though they're long deceased, first of all, many of them were known abusers, meaning that they abused many, many victims. The institution must be held accountable.
Crump says hundreds of survivors have come forward to them, some named in the Attorney General's report, others telling their story for the first time.
My name's Mark Floto.
Mark Floto was just a young boy when he says he was abused.
It caused so many problems in my life, and so much anger and hate and angst and anguish against my family, that I actually hated them for them having a good life.
The Attorney General report released last month detailed decades of horrific abuse, saying the Archdiocese of Baltimore was not only aware of it, but failed to take action to prevent the abuse.
I can't even fathom. I mean, it is beyond imagination what Tanya and others went through when they were betrayed by the very people their mothers and fathers turned to for guidance.
The hope now is others will come forward and tell their stories and finally have a chance at justice.
I just hope I can help somebody else understand, that they can come forward and talk.
They've also launched a petition calling for legislation that would remove the statute of limitations for child sex abuse across the country. In Baltimore, Maxine Stryker, Fox 45 News.
Ben Crump has also joined a lawsuit against Baltimore City schools. The suit accuses the school system of wasting tax dollars and failing to provide an adequate education to generations of students. He says the solutions we find here will make waves around the nation. We also should disclose that Ben Crump is an advertiser on this TV station.
Fox 45 is following breaking news out of New York City. Former President Donald Trump has been found liable of sexually abusing writer E. Jean Carroll in a department store back in the 90s. Now, the jury ruled Trump should pay $5 million in damages. Sinclair's chief political correspondent, Scott Thuman, has the latest as the former president reacts.
Well, this happened very quickly. It was about a 3-week trial, yet it took the jury less than 3 hours to find Donald Trump liable for sexually abusing his accuser back in the mid-1990s. E. Jean Carroll alleged that Trump raped her in a department store dressing room one night. The jury rejected those specific claims of rape, but did say he sexually assaulted her and should pay almost $5 million in damages and for defamation. Trump did not attend the trial, and he refused to testify despite multiple opportunities, although he publicly claimed his innocence and did so in a taped deposition. He did, however, quickly respond Tuesday afternoon to the jury's decision on social media, writing, "I have absolutely no idea who this woman is. This verdict is a disgrace, a continuation of the greatest witch hunt of all time." Carroll's attorney saying right afterward, "We are very happy with the decision." Meanwhile, another question now, how much might this hurt his chances in the 2024 race? Trump has been accused of sexual misconduct by about 24 women, but this is the first time it's gone before a jury. Recent polling shows a majority of Americans believe Trump should face criminal charges in some of the multiple cases he faces, yet despite that, the same polls also had him up over President Biden by 7 points in a potential matchup. Either way, it is just more fodder for both his critics and his competition. And keep in mind, it was just over a month ago that Trump was indicted in New York for allegedly paying hush money leading up to the 2016 election to cover up an alleged affair with a former adult film star. In Washington, I'm Scott Thuman.
Also breaking today, President Joe Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy just finished a critical meeting at the White House with no consensus on how to end their conflict on the national debt limit. The meeting was the first session between the president and all 4 congressional leaders on the debt limit. President Biden is demanding Congress raise the debt ceiling unconditionally to avoid a default. House Republicans passed a bill capping spending increases in exchange for a debt limit increase. It has no chance in the Democratic-held Senate and promised presidential veto. It is not clear when or if they will meet again before the June default deadline. Well, next on Fox 45 News at 6, a facelift at a popular Baltimore County summer attraction. What you'll find at Merritt Point Park the next time you visit.
Lawn war battle. I'm Angela Brown in Washington, D.C. No mow May becoming more popular, while the decision not to mow is dividing some neighborhoods.
And to look at your O's forecast for this evening as the first pitch is thrown out at 6:35 for a 59. Some extra clouds beginning to clear and a few clouds and cool as we head into the remainder of the game. And a big O's win. Temperatures in the mid to upper 50s. Jackets out, but I'll let you know when shorts and short sleeves make the comeback. That's in my Weather Authority forecast.
Trending now, a dilemma facing families and dividing neighborhoods. Whether to mow or not to mow this May. The National Desk's Angela Brown breaks down the environmental battle over lawn care.
Some communities are passing resolutions dropping fines for May if you decide not to mow your grass, setting up a battle over lawn care. Advocates say it's eco-friendly and will help the bees. Critics say that taller grass can be a magnet for rodents, snakes, other animals, and not mowing makes the neighborhood look bad. That sound you may hear less often. It's No Mow May, encouraging residents to grow their grass longer. Our reporters nationwide are tracking the No Mow movement, including the Portland area in Maine, to help bees.
Allow those flowers to grow up so that the bees and other pollinators have food sources readily available to them.
To understand the growing debate over No Mow May, let's head to Appleton, Wisconsin, the first U.S. city to adopt No Mow May back in 2020 and recently in jeopardy of being cut. Council members questioning its effectiveness.
There are benefits to having more flowers and having more gardens that are pollinator friendly, but there's nothing that shows that growing your grass from 8 inches tall to 12 inches tall makes any difference whatsoever for pollinators.
The Appleton committee rejected a resolution ending No Mow May, but critics are popping up nationwide. Some calling No Mow May good intentions, bad approach. Other elected leaders citing appearance.
I think we have a problem with a lot of folks just very concerned about the look of their neighborhood.
Last year, Green Bay joined the No Mow May movement. Back then, our team interviewed Dave Elson from the Brown County Beekeepers Association about the impact of mow bees in the ecosystem.
Without honeybees to assist in pollination, there's so much of the food that we all love and enjoy wouldn't be here for us.
In Washington, D.C., I'm Angela Brown.
Well, Baltimore County now has a new way to make hitting the water more accessible this summer. County Executive Johnny Olszewski unveiled a new boat ramp and kayak launch at Merritt Point Park in Dundalk. That means even more access to a whole range of water and paddle sports. Olszewski says this is just the first step in new plans to modernize Baltimore County parks and recreational activities. This new addition marks the first substantial boat ramp project the county has seen in more than 15 years.
All right, scoping out the Fox Triple Cast this evening. You see there at the top of your screen the Mile 1 and Toyota H-Unit Harbor Skycam Mile 1 Towson Cam. Now, we do have sunshine coming out just in time for the O's game here starting at 6:35, so that is wonderful news. You'll need some sunglasses. And look on the HD radar. Rain moving away as our latest weather maker leaves. So what's going to be happening for us is sunshine coming back the next several days. And there we go. You can see as our game is just minutes until start time against the Tampa Bay Rays. Hopefully a better outcome tonight than what we had last night. But the weather certainly cooler. 68 degrees and sunshine. Winds are variable at 6. Our humidity low at 42%. Temperatures, they're actually at their highest point all day now, 68. That's our new high for the day here in Baltimore as we've got that late day sunshine. 70 degrees at Westminster and Frederick. We're at 70 at Laurel, some 60s along the eastern shore. Look all across the entire state of Maryland. We're all in the 60s to right around 70 degrees, which again is shaving off about 8 to 15 degrees off of where we were just 24 hours ago. But that late day sun is helping. Some of the coolest spots still under the clouds in La Plata, as well as towards St. Charles County. You're talking about temperatures running about 15 to 20 degrees below where they were just 24 hours ago. Right now, temperatures, again, they are still cool across the mid-Atlantic, including Maryland, Northern Virginia. That's with that cloud and rain band that came through earlier. But look at the warmth north and south, and that will collapse in as we head into tomorrow. Temperatures overnight into early tomorrow morning, settling down into the 40s, so you'll need a jacket for those crisp temperatures to begin. By lunchtime tomorrow in the 60s to near 70, jackets go away in the afternoon as we're well into the 70s and maybe even touching 80 in the next couple of days. I'm going to let you know when that could be and if that's going to last all the way through Mother's Day. That's in my exclusive 10-day forecast in a couple of minutes.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Smoke from wildfires in western Canada is now over parts of the Northeast, including New England. That haziness is what you see in this sunset in Rhode Island last night and again in this morning's sunrise. The jet stream carried the smoke thousands of miles east. No smoke in South Carolina, though, just a gorgeous sky welcoming Tuesday morning.
Listen to Off the Radar. New episodes every Tuesday. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.
Small businesses in Texas feeling the impact of the border crisis. Next, the calls business owners are making as more than 1,000 migrants head across the border this week. Small business owners across Texas are feeling it. The labor shortage that's affecting food and housing prices. Immigration advocates say the crisis at the border isn't helping matters. Marisa Mendoza from our Sinclair sister station has the story.
According to city officials, the Migrant Resource Center saw nearly 15,000 people. That's nearly double from March. Immigration advocates say immigration policy is much more than a social issue, but an economic one.
Yeah, this broken immigration system affects all of us at all levels, at all sectors.
Longtime business owner Mark Rodriguez says the uncertainty at the border is killing small businesses. He says with bank lending tighter, less employees are on the books.
When you have a workforce shortage and you have a border security, border immigration policy issue, the banks and the financial markets are unsure of the stability for Texas business.
According to Texas Workforce Commission, there are currently 800,000 job openings. The agency adds 600,000 remain unemployed. Thousands of those jobs are in areas such as hospitality, manufacturing, and construction.
Those are the jobs that Native Americans either cannot or are not willing to do.
The president and CEO of the U.S.